During the next 4 weeks, I want to practice consistency, trying new art styles, and tackling big art projects such as creating a comic series and animating. In the first 4 days, I started off by drawing a few of my characters from my book Dragmere in my own style. I've been drawing in this style for a few months now. I use different shades of gray and add a single light source as a splash of color. In Creative Confidence, Tom Kelly pushes his readers to try new things. So, I decided to start drawing in different styles for 2 days. I added more color to my artwork, and I loved how it turned out. This was a fun week because I got to draw whatever I wanted, try new styles, and attempt animation. Like a muscle, your creative abilities will grow and strengthen with practice. For week 2, I wanted to work on consistency. So, I decided to start making a comic. First, I came up with the cover design. I was going for a Disney-type style because Agents of the Arctic is a comedy action comic about 2 secret agents who were forced to be partners. This was an idea that my little brother and I had years ago, and we loved our characters. I had originally made most of the comic, taking up 3 sketchbooks in middle school. Now that I've started digital art, I wanted to make it better and turn it into a webcomic on the app Webtoons. So here's the first 6 pages of my comic that I made during the second week of my project. Relentless practice creates a database of experience that you can draw upon to make more enlightened choices. This was a very difficult week because of the amount of work I had to put into each page of the comic. It took me many hours to sketch, outline, and color every day. For the third week, I decided to tackle animation head-on. I looked up some videos on YouTube and figured out the gist of animating on Procreate. It's actually fairly simple. You start off with a drawing of your choice. Then you use the Add Frames button to make your next movement. There are frame options and settings to determine how fast or slow you want your animation to go. You can even mess around with the onion skin opacity, which just means you can see the frames you drawn beforehand. Then you can put it on a loop and export it. For days 2 through 4, I worked on super simple animations while I continued to look up YouTube tutorials. I started with mainly loops and then went on to slightly more complicated drawings later on. This animation of an egg hatching was a bit more difficult than the looped ones I drew before, but it was fun to make nonetheless. I then went on to make a few more looped animations with my characters, but this time I added more detail to them and stuck with my original drawing style. I wanted to test out how difficult it would be to add in more detailed lines and shading than I had done before. It took me multiple hours to do each one, mainly because I was having troubles with the frame adjustments. For day 7, I attempted a much larger animation involving my character Caius. This is a scene from my book where Caius uses his magic to enter the mind realm and seek out the main villain. It starts off with him writing in his journal on a floating boulder. He then levitates his book next to his bag and reaches out with his mind. When the screen goes black, he is in the mind realm. He searches for a faint feeling he has that someone is there with him and calls out to it. Neither Caius nor the villain have seen each other face to face, and it's the first time they have a one-on-one interaction with each other. I learned a lot this week. YouTube tutorials really helped me figure out how to use the app and improve my animations. Using what I learned from the past 3 weeks, I decided I wanted to make an animation that goes along to a song, and I wanted to do it in a bright style. So for the first 3 days, I planned what song I wanted to use, began designing my characters, and fleshing out the style I wanted. I ended up satisfied with 2 alien characters that were made in colors I used from a picture of a sunrise and a picture of the night sky. On day 4, I drew a looped animation to test out how everything looked with one of my alien characters. On day 5, I made a sketch of the animation and added the looped one in as well. On day 6, I began coloring my animation and started to feel discouraged. But as I was reading, this quote stuck out to me and helped me push forward. When you open your mind to the possibility that your capabilities are unlimited and unknown, you already have your running shoes on and are ready to race forward. I got nearly the entire first part of my animation completed, and I couldn't be more excited with how it was turning out. By the end of the 4th week, I managed to achieve my desired outcome and expand my art skills. I stepped out of my comfort zone and experimented with more colors, and the results were incredible. I was having a difficult time with consistency and working on a single project for an entire week, but it made me improve very quickly. At the end of the day, I learned that the right kind of practice is essential to creative growth thanks to Tom Kelly's Creative Confidence. In our experience, one of the scariest snakes in the room is the fear of failure, which manifests itself in such ways as fear of being judged, fear of getting started, fear of the unknown. And while much has been said about fear of failure, it is still the single biggest obstacle people face to creative success.